Alright, so the things that you'll need is you'll need your yarn and you'll need your knitting needles. You can set these aside for right now because first we're going to be working with just the yarn. So what we're going to do now is pull out a tail. A tail should be approximately 3 feet depending on how many stitches you need to cast on. A good way to measure this is by taking the tip in your fingers and holding it out to your nose. This is approximately 3 feet. So this is where we'll start. What we're going to do now is create a slip knot. Now a slip knot is what you start with. So you're going to take your tail and cross it over the rest of your yarn to make this loop. See? Now you're going to take the end and draw it through that loop. Like that. Now holding both ends, you're going to pull it close. And here's your slip knot. I'll do it one more time to just make sure everyone gets what to do. Okay. So have your yarn. Draw it over. Come through the loop. And pull it close. We have our slip knot. What we're going to do is start casting on. You're going to take one of your knitting needles and put the slip knot over it, pulling it so it's snug against the needle. If I could. There. Now you don't want it so tight so that it can't move around on the needle, but you don't want it too loose either. So now you're going to take your thread with your tail closest to you and the rest of your yarn farthest. You take your 2 fingers right here, your thumb and your index, and you're going to put them through the yarn, the 2 threads. Now you're going to pull it down like that, so it makes a V. Now you're going to put on your first stitch. You go under the first one, over the second one, under the third, and then back over the first, pulling it close. Once more. You under the first one, over the second, under the third, and back under the first, and then pull it closed. Alright, so what I've done now is I've cast on 10 stitches. This is just an example, so you'll have to see your pattern. You're going to turn your needle and hold it in your left hand, like this, making sure that your yarn is always on your right.
Can't see that.
Now you're going to take your second needle so you can begin your first row. We're going to start off with a knit row because the knit stitch is the most basic stitch in knitting. So what you're going to do is make sure you have your tail on your left side. Make sure you have the rest of your yarn on your right. So you're going to take the tip of your needle and push it up under that first loop. See? Now you're going to take the rest of your yarn. Make sure to not grab your tail. And you're going to take it and wrap it around the needle you just put through. Now you're going to push it down and go up under the stitch you originally went through and take it off. You've just done your first stitch. I'll do it a few more times. Up, under that, wrap it around, down, under, and off. Up, under, around, down, under, and off. Alright, so now we have completed our first row. Yay! Congratulations! So now we're going to need to do our second row. For our second row, I'm going to teach you how to purl. So you turn it, just like you had when you finished your cast on row. You're going to take your needle, And instead of going up like that, like we did with knitting, instead we're going to put the yarn on your wrist and go backwards into it. See that? Let me go backwards into it. Alright, now we're going to take this thread and wrap it around, just like we did with the knit stitch. And now we're going to go through and off. Show you one more time. You go back, around, through, and off. Alright, so now you know how to cast on, how to knit, and how to purl. Hooray! One great thing that you can really tell which row you're on if you leave it for a little while is the ridges like this are purls. See how they make a kind of wave? Well, on the other side, the V's, right there, those are knits. Alright, so let's say that you have finished your project now. How do you take it off the needles without unraveling the whole thing? Well, this is how to cast off. So we're going to take our needle and do a knit stitch. We're going to do one more. So now we have 2 stitches and 8 not still on the needle. Okay, now we're going to take this needle, the one in our left hand, and we're going to go through the first stitch that we did and come up and off. This decreases by 1. So now you knit one, you go through this one and off. It's really important to keep your thread really loose while doing this. If you get it too tight, then the edge of the yarn will curl up on you. Alright, so we go through that one, up, and off. So now I've finished my cast off row, which is that ridge right there, except I have 1 stitch left. Since there's no stitch next to put on and then pull over, what am I going to do with it? Well, you want to get it out pretty far, just so that it won't you won't lose it. And unwind a bit from your yarn ball. Oop. Now you're going to take your silver scissors and cut off a good length. This will be your second tail. Okay. Now we're going to take the second tail and we're going to draw it through this last stitch all the way, and now pull tight, and there you have your finished project. So now you know how to knit. Thank you for watching this video. Bye everyone!